What the heck are these things? Well, these are the key to what may become one of your favorite staples. Versatile, easy to make, and so freaking delicious. Easy Garlic Scape Pesto. I promise you, your pasta will never be the same. Let's get into the kitchen.
Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to make one of my all-time favorite condiments. It's really quick, really easy, and it makes great use of something that some people just throw away. I'm all about the let's use it all if we can philosophy. So let's check out how to use a garlic scape to make your cooking amazing. Hi, I'm Jen. Welcome back to the kitchen. It's really great to have you here. Today we are going to be making one of my all-time favorite condiments. It's a very quick, easy recipe. This one is great for your freezer. So you can make it in like 10 minutes or less, pop it in the freezer and enjoy it all winter long. This is also going to make a lot of your meals much more flavorful and make use of something that a lot of people used to just not know what to do with and throw away. Garlic scapes. Have you had them? Let's check them out. So if you have had garlic scapes before, then you know what I'm talking about. But if you're new to garlic scapes, what the heck are they? This curly, beautiful thing is the green shoot that grows up from a garlic bulb when you're growing garlic in your garden. Because yes, you can grow garlic in all kinds of places, including here in Eastern Canada. So when the bulb is growing, at some point it's going to put up a shoot and it's going to have a flower on the end. So if you want your bulbs to be bigger and healthier, then you'll want to cut this flowering shoot off so that way the plant can focus all of its attention on the bulb, right? But then you're left with this, like what do you do with it? Well, a garlic scape is very similar to like a green onion. You know how that's like a milder onion flavor? Same thing with a garlic scape. It is garlicky, but not as pungent, not quite as, doesn't quite have the same bite to it. So it's a milder form of garlic, which makes it delicious. So you can chop it up and pop it into anything where you'd use garlic. You can make a refrigerator pickle with these. Fantastic, so great on a charcuterie board, or basically, you know what? You're out of like a bulb of garlic and you need a few cloves. Grab a couple of these, chop them up, put them in whatever you want. What I'm going to show you today is one of my favorite ways to use up garlic scapes, which is garlic scape pesto. So pesto traditionally is basil and pine nuts and Parmesan cheese, oil, some lemon, salt and pepper. So this is kind of a riff off of it. This is definitely not your traditional pesto, but what I'm doing is I'm using garlic scapes. I don't use pine nuts just because I live outside of the city and sometimes they're hard to come by. So what I do is I just use whatever nuts I have on hand, usually walnuts. Today I have a mixture of walnuts and pecans. So you use whatever nut you think would be delicious in this. I have got some grated cheese all ready to go. I've got some lemon juice here. I've got my olive oil and some salt and pepper. So how do you do it? What are the measurements? Let's get going. So for this recipe, you're going to need either a high-powered blender or a food processor. So I'm going to use my old standby. This is Bessie. She and I have been together for a long time. She's not fancy, but she works. So the first thing I've done is I took my nuts and I toasted them in a 400-degree oven for 10 minutes. So it just helps to bring the oils and the flavor out. And just makes it a little extra nutty and delicious. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take 1 pound of garlic scapes, and I've just rough chopped them to make it easier to do them in the food processor. Now, I like to do the nuts first and then add the scapes and then add the rest of the ingredients and kind of build on from there. So you do it in whichever way makes sense to you. I'm gonna use 1 cup of my nut mixture, which is the walnuts and the pecans. But again, if you're a traditionalist and you've got pine nuts, then go for it, make that happen. So this is a 1/2 cup measurement, and we're gonna use 2 of them. Excellent. And I'm just gonna give them a quick whiz. And my little friend here, she's kind of loud. So we'll see if we can fast forward through that part and save you the earache. Okay, that didn't take long at all. They're nicely ground, so I'm just gonna move these guys out of the way. So now we can focus on the other ingredients. I'm going to add my 1 pound of roughly chopped garlic scapes. And you can do this a little bit at a time if your food processor isn't super big. Like mine's not huge, so I'm gonna add half, process, and then add the other half. There we go. At this point, I'm also going to add some of the olive oil. Now, generally I use about 1/4 cup, maybe 1/3 cup. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I really don't measure it too much. So I'm just gonna give this a drizzle to help it kind of break down for the first bit, and then we'll add some more as it goes. Now, as you can see, that doesn't take long before it starts to break down and come together. So at this point, I'm gonna add the rest. Don't mind me, it's hot here today. Summer. We've had a banner summer here in Atlantic Canada. I'm not a great gardener, and even my garden looks fantastic. So that's saying something, guys, truly. I always wish that my husband was into gardening, because wouldn't that be great? Like, I can do all the preserving and the cooking of the food and he could just grow it. We're still working on that aspect of our relationship. All right, at this point, I'm going to add my 1/4 cup of lemon juice. I'm going to add, you can add 1/2 to 3/4 cup of grated fresh Parmesan. None of that shaker cheese stuff, guys. We gotta use the real deal. So I'm gonna use 3/4 cup, let's be real. And we're gonna add some salt and pepper. I'm adding 1 teaspoon of salt. And obviously you can do this to taste. So if you find you want a little less or a little more, fill your boots. Do whatever tastes best for you. I like the fresh cracked pepper. All right, so we've got in our nuts, our scapes, our lemon juice, our Parmesan cheese, freshly grated of course, and some salt and pepper. Now let's add a bit more olive oil. Again, if you wanna measure this, fantastic. So what I'll do is I will measure 1/4 cup, and we'll see if we think we need any more from there. Here we go. Let's add this in. And time to whiz. So it's whizzing along nicely, but it's still a little bit thick. So at this point, I mean, you can thin it with a little bit of water if you want, but I'm gonna add a little bit more olive oil through the chute, give it a taste, and see if I need to balance it with a little bit more lemon juice. All right, so let's take a look and see where we're at consistency-wise. It's thick, it mounds up on the spoon. It's looking pretty good. It looks a little bit, it doesn't look like wet, but I think this is a nice consistency. So I'm gonna give it a taste and see if I need to adjust salt, pepper, maybe a little bit of lemon juice. So good. This is so good. Now, mine is still a little bit rough chopped. If you have a high-powered blender or like, for example, a Vitamix, oh my gosh, wouldn't that be great? Then you can really, really make this an incredibly smooth texture. I like it to have a little bit of bite to it, so that's not my main concern, but if it is for you, then definitely continue to process it until it's as smooth as you like. I am gonna give it one last, use the last of this, lemon juice. Just a little squeeze. and one last go round through the food processor. And that's all she wrote. It's done, it's processed, and now it's ready for you to have some for supper tonight and put some away for another day. Now, this won't last too long in your refrigerator, so it's probably best for long-term storage if you plan on freezing it. This isn't something that you can can or dehydrate due to the nuts and the oil and the cheese that are in it. Those are items that just don't lend themselves well to those types of food preservation methods. So my favorite way to freeze these is actually by using these little silicone mini loaf pans, because you can put it in, freeze it into blocks, pop them out, and then I put them in a freezer bag full, and then I just take them out as I need them. So you can fill this however full that you think makes sense, but let's just check this out. Isn't that beautiful? And the smell in here is incredible, and this is absolutely to die for flavor-wise. So fill this up as high as you think you need, and you can even, if you're looking to portion this out later, you can even take a butter knife. I should have gotten that out earlier. And kind of pre-portion it a little bit, so it makes it easier for you to break them apart after they're frozen. But that's it. Pop these in the freezer until they're done, and then you can take this out and use it in all kinds of things. So it makes a wonderful spread, but it also is delicious on pasta. So whether you are looking for a quick meal idea, here's my favorite. Cook up some of your favorite noodles, add some of this pesto, some crumbled bacon, and some goat cheese. Add some pesto, some of the pasta water back in to make that all nice and creamy, and honest to goodness, that is like a 10-minute meal, and it is filling and creamy and so, so good. This garlic scape pesto packs a punch. I also love putting it in my favorite spaghetti sauce, so instead of using garlic, you can always add a little bit of the garlic scape pesto in there for a richer flavor. This can be used in so many different applications. How about taking some out, making some crostini, spreading it on top, maybe add a few little tomatoes, like, honestly, the amount of places where you'll use garlic scape pesto is pretty much endless. So if you've never tried garlic scapes before, I really highly recommend that you head on down to your farmer's market or contact one of your local farmers to find out if they're growing garlic and to grab yourself some scapes, because really they are absolutely delicious. And it was one of those things that I only kind of found out about because my local farm stand producer handed me a big bag one day and she said, I can't give these things away. I know you'll do something with them. Here we are. So I'd love to know if you give this recipe a try, what you think of it. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. I'm always doing something in the kitchen and I do love to share it with you. So thanks for being here. I can't wait to see you next time in the kitchen. But in the meantime, it's pasta night.